Okay, we're going to ask everybody to center themselves and come into your bodies right now from wherever you've been this morning or this evening, from your overnight dreams. Everybody back in the bowl in your bodies right now. And then we'll take you out. But I'd like you all to be on the same page first. So feet planted firmly on the ground. Excuse me. And we were discussing earlier that the energy of the earth, the frequency is raising right now. So let's put our feet firmly on the ground and let's visualize all the way to the center of the earth, a long strand corded, and bring it all the way up to our feet so that we are firmly planted here. And raise that string straight on through the cord, straight on through the body. Bring it on up. All the way up your legs. And each area that it comes up and raises forward above, we're going to have it open up each chakra from the solar plexus, from the root chakra to the solar plexus, to the heart chakra, to our throat chakra, our centrum, pineal gland, our third eye. Let's open that up, and our crown chakra. And let that strand of light just go straight on up into the cosmos, because that's where we're going to head today. So we just want a nice light cording. Everybody's on the same wavelength this way. And as we are there, we're all now feeling our center, our source, our light, our God self, our I am, present within your heart and within the entire physical body. Feel your I am there. And see that you no longer have this body. It's just completely a spiritual being on this cording to the cosmos. And as a spiritual being, we surround it now, put it into that wonderful gold four-sided pyramid that Jean likes to share. And then we'll protect ourselves with our two strands of energy around us. You look at it like a column. And those energies of protection allow only light, only love, and that for our highest development. Everything else has to stay outside of itself. And now we take some deep breaths and still feel that you're corded all the way up into the cosmos. It's a very simple, lightweight visualization today. Now we're all together in the group shield. All of us are protected and cared for. And we have the light surrounding all of us. And outside that are all of our wonderful guides and spiritual beings who take care of us every moment of our life here.
You guys are going to show yourself someday.
And we're all together in this circle. We're present. And on either side of us are another set of beings. There are angels and guardians. Keep us protected and safe, and so that we are all on the same frequency today. We feel no darkness, no shadows, only love, experiencing light. Okay. We have some visitors who are here with us. Who's going to speak? I don't know, but we've got a crowd. So I'm going to let my guides work with me. All of you can come back. We're all here now on the same level. Excuse me, I'm really kind of wasted right now. Sorry about that. All right. Okay, so I'm going to introduce somebody here who's been chomping at the bit. She's been with me for the last 2 days, and she wrote through me this morning. And her name is Laurel Clark from the Columbia disaster. So that was the second shuttle disaster that blew up over. Oh, when it entered, sorry, I just can't even think, entered into the Earth's atmosphere on February 3rd, 2003. And she came through this morning and she wrote I wrote a note. Well, so it'll take me a few minutes to read this if you don't mind. And see if I can focus here. I'm going to, hopefully I edited out my mistakes because I was typing with my eyes closed. And so sometimes I drop a line when I'm typing. And it makes it kind of difficult. So she's here with me. She's really holding my energy, but I will try to read this. Okay. It says, "Welcome, Regina. I have separated myself considerably from your earth plane." Now, when she was typing Earth, she was making it into a smaller E as opposed to a capital E. So she was saying, "I'm dropping the capital on the name Earth, as this is a lesser plane, unlike numerous other worldly planes, light worlds, and fascinating, fantastic, phantasmagorical regions of the universe. I have discovered that though names were a significant way to delineate the hierarchy of our earthly world, it is no longer necessary here in my lovely realm of living. I'm truly happy here, always discovering grand thoughts, impressions, and mindsets. I knew it would be immense, huge, incredible, but I was not prepared for how tremendous it actually is. I was and am still open to finding the more of our living in our lives. Even in this spiritual existence, there is so much more to learn. We spend our physical lives just seeking to discover our purpose. Here, we understand what it is to love. The spiritual challenge lies in learning to evolve with our current situation. There is so much to understand here, so much to learn. Am I hurling through space? Can this possibly be? No, not really, because there is no time, no passage, no movement, unless I think of it as such. But nonetheless, I feel I'm still hurling, traveling into realms, systems that have no place in our linear school of thought, but it is real. These systems are the quantum possibilities inherent in every entity's creations and thoughts. The imagination is powerful, instantaneous, and constantly creating new thoughts. So when science today says that the universe is ever expanding, it is because of all those who think about possibilities. What is this like? I loved science, the black and white of our learned education, but I also love that we make a difference after we separate from our bodies. So my time on earth was driven by an insatiable desire to expand my mind. And I know that now. My demise on my track, my demise was on track to arrive exactly at the point in time when I could depart and continue to explore beyond the time and space, beyond Earth. I certainly didn't know this then, when the Columbia disintegrated as it entered the Earth's atmosphere. Our oxygen was slowly depleted, the cabin was torn apart around us, and bit by bit, heated metal was ripped off by the speed of entry. We were unaware of what was happening. The gift God gave to all of us, the crew, was not to experience the pain of our physical departure, because it wasn't necessary. It was our planned time to leave. And now I come to share with you an important fact. You may already be aware of these, but I need to repeat them. I sound like my mother. God exists in every corner of all that is. Into the farthest reaches, which I've been able to travel and beyond, escorts have taken me to regions where I had the honor of meeting beings of a different nature from other worlds. This is not aliens of outer space, but ones who practice an art of sound that reverberates throughout all. All what, you say? All. Everything. Just as a cicada can make a background sound that sets the world of insects and plants in harmony, so do these otherworldly beings. They have no physical structure, but I imagine seeing them, a vibration floating before me, harmonizing my thoughts and keeping me at peace when I step too close to the Earth's vibration. I've asked Regina to meet me on the edge today, far away from the astral bodies of the Earth and the cosmic universe, as it is difficult for me to engage too closely with the Earth's field. However, when I do visit my family, I enter into their homes with great caution. On many evenings, I sit with my husband John late into the night. He knows when I'm present, and I lie down beside my granddaughter Laurel. We met before she was born into our family. John saw something too. He recognized my touch in Laurel after she was born. He held his granddaughter, knowing I was there. She used to be able to see me when she was an infant and into her toddler years, but she doesn't see me now. Senses my guardianship, yes, but she can't see me. But Lane can feel me. He's my son. I try not to interfere. I don't move things or whisper. I only love them, hold them as I've always loved them. It's been many years since I tried to communicate through the physical being, but I miss the interaction of humanity, a physical love that is quite grand. The emotional interactions of human expressions on a physical level can only be experienced with a body. Love is grand here, absolutely. I cannot find a description that accurately depicts what happens to the spiritual body. The ethereal field surrounding all life has no limit, even on Earth, though as humans, it remains unseen. So from where I exist, as where all spirits reside, we do see how far love expands. And that love, well, that's God. I come today to share with you God's love, not a sense of it, but love in all its glory. Crave it, drink it, eat it, feel it, experience it in everything you do. Each movement, thought is being touched by love from us, all of us who existed and exists now and will exist in the beyond. We feel your love too. Stay there in that place, in that moment of love. There is nothing greater. And when we teach of the light, we speak of love. It is love that lights the way, always. As long as you follow love, you give love. You are love, and thus you are light. And when you find yourself lost, never give up hope. Look for the light and run towards it. Remember, you are light, you are love, you are God, and God is everywhere. That's Laurel B. Clark.
Wow.
Thank you for letting me read that.
Thank you for reading it, Regina. Oh,
She is very present and very much not. It is the strangest energy I've ever felt. And I've brought her before, but that was back in 2018 or 19, Dan? Something like that. This is so very different. And yet it was her. So her.
well, it's been really intriguing and informative to me being in touch with these messages, over the past now 5, 6, 7 years that we've worked together, to begin to understand how we evolve once we leave the body, or how we can, the choices that we have to remain close to the earth plane, to move far away, to go to the ultimate expansion, which we've just gotten a taste of,
Taste of, oh
where
my
there's
God.
barely a hair's breadth between manifestation and no manifestation. Oh wow. What an education, what a treat.
Well, thank you. And thank you everyone for sitting through all that reading. That's a lot of reading. And I know that's
No, it was
a little
perfect.
bit more time than necessary. And if anybody has any questions right now before I put Laurel aside here, she's here. She can ask anybody. Sally?
Yeah, sorry, it was quicker to just hold my actual hand up than to find
That's just fine. That's
the
for me.
react. And I
so-
had just typed into the chat the question that I was having, and only because it's timely. You and Jean, of course, have been very connected to a lot of our astronauts who transitioned during, their work. And I'm curious, since we are in such an interesting time with regard to the things that are being seen in space, namely this current object, 3I Atlas, if
Mhm.
any of them have had anything to say to you about the nature of that object.
No, I have not. Michael wasn't talking about that, was he, Dan?
No, I don't think so.
No, no.
Um,
I have not, Sally.
Okay.
And,
I mean, and I don't expect anybody to take my word for anything. I have sort of tapped into this myself. And the information that I was receiving was that it's kind of like a tuning fork or a portal opener. Not that it is, I mean, any different than any other object in any other, intergalactic object, planet, whatever in space. It is its own thing, but that its timing and its placement does hold significant to us as human beings. So I was just curious if you had gotten anything similar to that.
no, I have not, Sally, but I have not asked anything regarding that. And she's responding like I'm not even going to deal with the She says you might have to ask Chiron or Cryon.
Cryon, yeah.
Cryon. That's what I heard. You might have to try.
And it's possible he's commented on it. I don't know, but
He probably has. I don't know either.
okay.
That's so funny.
Okay.
So, Dan, you want to take over for it? I will.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you,
Well,
Sally. That's a good
No
question.
problem.
I'm going to
Yeah.
put that forward here. I'm
Okay.
going to write this.
Let me know if you get anything.
What's that called? Atlas? What?
A 3-eye atlas.
Three.
It's and yeah, it's
Okay. I know what it is. I
yeah.
just couldn't recall the name.
It's a very interesting thing flying at a high rate of speed through our at this moment.
yeah. There's
Yeah.
going to be more. That's all I know. There's going to be a lot of interactions. That's all I've been told. So I don't know anything more than that. That
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot of interactions finally because they can't control the media anymore as
Right.
far as what people are
Well,
seeing.
there's lots of people with a lot of equipment looking up in the
Exactly.
sky.
And
So
they cannot deny it. It's not going to be that it's going to be more than less. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just that there's just going to be more published out there.
right.
So
and at the same time, we again, my taking the slightly more skeptical view that there's a huge amount of AI generated clickbait
There
on
it is.
YouTube these days, alleging the whole spectrum of possibilities about everything.
Yeah. I try to
And
follow
then,
the
and then,
actual scientific sources.
good, but it's
Yeah.
also good to see some of the clickbait, just
Yeah.
to get the sense
Yeah.
of what's going on. And a lot of it is just about advertising income
Right.
and
There
getting eyeballs on YouTube.
Yeah. There's also a quite a number of well-known sort of spiritual personalities, who have a presence online, who have also had, interesting things to say about it. Again, I don't expect anybody to take my word for it, and I don't necessarily take other people's word for it when it's of this more sort of subtle nature. But it is an interesting thing. And we are at a time frame in our culture and our technology where we've become much more aware. And I just think the timing is interesting. I'll leave it at that.
always.
Well, I agree absolutely. Thank you, Sally.
No problem.
Oh, well.
Hey, Hyacinth, did you have
What?
your hand up or you?
I was just wondering if you heard of Danny Sheehan
Daniel
from
Sheehan?
Washington. Yes.
Uh,
He's with the UAP Disclosure Project.
right, I
And
haven't
he-
heard. Go ahead.
Yeah, and he has been with us now for many years. And then all the people who have been in touch and who know this, and it's coming. So I think talking to him would be very good.
Well, we could get him on the global gatherings at some point. He's got a huge history of working with
Yes,
this
absolutely.
material. And I have connections with him, and I think it'd be an interesting thing to have him on
Yes,
to tell us about the state of the art and the state of the
exactly.
politics, which have been frustrating
Yes.
and intriguing.
Yes.
And
Yes, I get
there are
his emails.
great.
Mm.
Okay, so continuing with today's theme.
What is today's theme?
I hoped you wouldn't ask.
That's
No,
good.
but seriously, coming from the most refined and exotic reaches of reality, down a bit closer to Earth. One of the folks we've heard from, also via Regina, in the last few weeks, is a man named Charles T. Tart. Charlie Tart was well known as a prominent psychologist and parapsychologist. He was known for his psychological work on the nature of consciousness and particularly altered states. And he was one of the founders of the field of transpersonal psychology. Did a lot of research in those areas. And he was a personal friend of mine and of our colleague, Cynthia Spring. And he passed on the 5th of March of this year. So Interestingly, he has chosen, at least at this point, to stick close to the earth plane because he's still fascinated with what goes on here. So here's his message. I am still Charlie Tart. And yet, as we write, you are experiencing my physical essence, the body that once was, as that of a 25-year-old lying on the green. And yet I am so very different. I am here with you, appearing as I was at a time when I was energized, excited about life, and curious about what is out there. Anyone can read about me, my studies, my scientific papers, and the results and findings. However, through those years, though those years shaped who I became and how I sought answers to the near impossible questions of parapsychology and the paranormal, nothing has prepared me for the excitement I would experience when I stepped into this surrounding. This is an incredible laboratory of unending learning. Wow is the only word that comes to mind. Wow. I finally understand why so many of our students who are willing to go the extra mile for me and let us study their minds, their dreams, and their conscious elements of thought had such a difficult time describing what, where, and who they experienced when they were in an altered state. All who traveled into the superconscious existence of a greater reality, induced through medications, herbs, shamanic rituals, and meditations, returned to their body starry-eyed. This place is amazing, and I am only on the first floor. I'm not ready to zip up to the second or higher, as I am still exploring what I have encountered. I have guides, and my wife steps close whenever I think, Judy would love this, or I can't wait to tell Judy about this or that. I want to tell my mentors, the teachers, professors, and my students. Many are here already. And just as a side note, if that's not clear, that Judy is residing on a slightly higher plane than Charlie at this point. I've already stepped into the great beyond, but that was too much too soon. Judy reminded me that this will always be here when I'm ready to explore. There are guides at every corner. I call them guides, as that is how they appear to me. I'm comfortable with the docents in khaki pants and blue polos, clipboard in hand, showing me the way. They are always nearby for my questions. I am in the perfect classroom, or what I call this a social structure created by like-minded individuals. I haven't figured this one out yet. I see others like me experiencing their youth with vigor and questions about life beyond the physical. We are all students here, and maybe eventually I will be a docent for those who follow. Another unanswered pondering. I have come to recognize the familiarity of my thinking, and that I am unlike everyone. I am in an individual consciousness with a particular mind, memory, and structure. But here I am without a physical vessel to hold these elements of life. Life without the body. I know this concept. I understood it, that I would continue after my body parted from my energetic soul. Yet the experience of this existence is quite extraordinary. I'm continually amused at our naive thought structure when we've had our souls compromised within a physical body. Here I am in the womb again, but a womb of such promising, life-giving energy that I do not want to emerge, not yet. I'm still gaining strength to navigate the environment of my existence. Wow. How does one evaluate and compare when one has no idea what is ahead, out there in this real world, the greater reality? The greater reality, my new world term, I've learned from Frances Vaughan. She tells me this is how her guides have shared this place with her. For some, this is the bardo, a place in between our lives where we go after we let our bodies go. Others refer to this as the Summerland. And I can see that. For if that is the case, then their projections of what life is like is filled with love, angels, guardians, and is forever a time when spring gives way to summer. The day of perfect weather, skies of aqua blue, and oceans bringing salty air into the land. I use a different term. It is still my connection to life on Earth. I see it as the office, a perfect space where I can meander and ask the universe whatever I wish. I do not go to work. My office is like stepping onto a train platform, where all the locomotives enter a nearby roundhouse and where they emerge. I have the chance to board any train bound for any destination to explore the unknown. It is strange. The signage here is like reading symbols, and I watch as they change for each traveler so they can interpret them. I'm not alone on the platform, as this mode of travel is quite popular for many. I am told there are those who never leave the train, and others move on, building their existence on the experiences they have here. We still have choices, options which allow growth and understanding. For some, they have arrived at this space in between with their earthly fears and doubts, other weighted thoughts, and until they can let them go or process them, they are unable to move forward or upward. Like the metro line, the bullet trains are on the higher platforms, while the old steam locomotives are on the lower ground level. So when I get to this platform, I ask myself, have I learned all I need to? Have I seen what my eyes needed to take in? Has my heart and mind felt compassion at this point, this juncture, this station? So why don't I just think about what I want to experience or explore? I can do that, and did a bit of it initially, as that is the most common way to realize our new surroundings and our abilities at this level of entry. However, I'm using this mode of travel to understand how my mind projects the necessity of the passage of time and space. I assume this is a way for me to get used to this new experience. You know, I'm really happy here, more than happy. I know that I can go anywhere within my limited thoughts and understandings. I know that I can go in there. I know that I can go anywhere, parentheses, within my limited thoughts and understandings, and discover, fill in the blanks to the many questions I sought answers for when I was in a body. I've been told that I can move up to the next level anytime I wish, anytime I wish that I'm ready for the scene that backspace a bit here. I have been told that I can move up to the next level anytime I wish, that I am ready for the scene which awaits me, and that I have been there many times before. But there is still so much here I want to reacquaint myself with, and I want to remember why I went to Earth in the first place. What exactly was the choice, and have I accomplished what I set out to achieve for my soul? I am enjoying the discovery of this answer, too. I look forward to sitting down again with you and answering your questions. I will do my best to answer them, and if I do not know, I will find someone who does. Until we connect again, your friend, may I call you that? Charlie.
It's beautiful, Daniel. Ooh.
Thanks, Daniel.
Thank you. Yes, and my understanding is that at some point, Charlie would like to have a one-on-one dialogue with us, which I would very much look forward to. Now, Regina, can you take it from here? I have to. I'm getting over a cold, and I need to duck out for a second. Thanks.
That's fine. I can take it from here.
Thanks. I'll be back shortly.
That's good. That's okay. I'm heading off in my alien spacecraft. I think I should type on here, Sally. It says 3-1 Atlas up here. Does anybody have any questions? That was Charlie Tart. So he's, like I said, transpersonal psychologist. And he came through, and it was just, I was shocked to hear him talk to me. And because I didn't know him, I knew of him very slightly. And I thought it was somebody else. And his partner came to me and showed up in my face and said, it's Charlie Tart who wants to talk to you. So it's just the weirdest things that happen. But let's see, what else can we, you guys ask questions, because I'm going to just throw it out to you.
Okay. Just a small point. I was curious in the description that was read to us by Dan, that he described himself as being on a certain lower level that he was fascinated with, but unless I'm mistaken, did he say his wife or partner was on a slightly higher level? And if
Yes,
she
she's
is,
not, yes, she's on another level. Not that he can't get to her, but
uh-huh,
she's gone through all of this. And what he expressed to me the other day when, what he was showing me when all of the writing was coming through was that he needs to do this methodically. She didn't. So she
mm-hmm,
just
mm-hmm,
leaped on forward and she passed away a few years prior to him.
mm-hmm,
But also the things that he is fascinated with do not fascinate her. So
right.
they're not even, so she is on a different, and the different level is not, I hate to use these hierarchies and the levels because the expansion is almost like a circle. You expand
Mm,
this way as opposed to going up. So, but there is an expansion of knowledge and understanding and an incorporation into their spiritual being itself. But she is on a, so, so she's experienced this stuff and what he's really interested in, she's not, and she comes back and says, yeah, I'll wait up here. I'll wait here. So she's basically waiting at the end of the train station, wherever he's headed to
Right.
catch. That's the only way I can explain that to you.
Yeah, Charlie was one of my favorite geeky personalities. He was Mr. Techie, and his use of the metaphor of railroad trains is just perfect. It's absolute Charlie, and I really appreciated his sensibilities and his approach to things, which was somewhat similar to my own.
He's here and he's actually, I feel like we're all guinea pigs to him at the moment. And the interesting thing is when I call him in, the first thing I see is him popping open my brain, just pop, and going, what's all in here? And right now, everybody's there, and the Zoom has got their brain popped open, and he's going, what's this about? Gordon, did you get your answers?
Not quite.
Okay.
Um, as we all are, and I certainly am, these different levels, different areas of focus. I'm curious if Mr. Tart can describe what he sees as his wife's level as opposed to his. How do they look different?
Mhm.
Oh, he can't describe his wife's level. He can
No?
only describe what is he's experiencing.
I see. Can he move with ease to his wife's level?
Yes,
Okay.
instantly, if that's the choice. And they
Right.
interact all the time. They interact all
Uh-huh.
the time. But and again, there's that word time. There's
Uh-huh.
full interaction. Like he was telling me when we were writing is yeah, all he has to do is think, oh, I wish Judy could see us, and she's there. Oh, I seen it. Go away. You know, it's like
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
it's like the wife being called in to see the baseball game, and she's seen it a million times. It's just another baseball game. Do I really want to see the hit? It's important.
Oh, that excellent comparison. Thank you.
So that's basic. That is,
Well, I think in Charlie's message that I read that came through recently, he did say essentially that he can pop into the higher level, but it's just not for him yet.
Hmm.
Just it's like there's a little oil and water experience there that he can
Yes.
push it, but basically he's happy where he is, and it's easier for her to come down to his, again, up and down, sorry, to
Yes.
his place
Yes.
than it is going the other way. And it's true for any of us if we enter a realm that we're unfamiliar with. It's going to be uncomfortable for us. We walk into a place where some other discipline is being practiced or some new sport is being played, and we know nothing about it. We're going to be bewildered perhaps for a while and have to withdraw to our familiar environment. So it's
Hmm.
not as if there's a hard boundary, but there's what you might say the vibrational boundary.
Some
Hmm.
people's ideal location is New York City. Oh, I can't wait to take a vacation. I want to go to New York City. That would not be my ideal vacation at all. My ideal vacation may be just walking 10 feet, 20 feet down the hill into the creek and put my feet in the water. So that is what we're dealing with, because Charlie's mind is not, I would not pick the mind he's got right now at all. I would not do this. I think the first thing I would do when I get there is, yeah, hello everybody, I'm out of here. How far can I fly? How fast can I go? I don't know. I just want to see everything. Everything. And it's not a fear of missing out. It's just a fear of getting to it, getting to it fast enough. So, yeah. I think it all depends on the individual, and truly, one individual cannot see what another one is seeing unless they're in the same thing. We can't even do that on ourselves. I can describe something, but my husband is going to see something different in his mindset. So that's about all I can share with you.
And one of the things that I found a little puzzling about Charlie's message, and this is something that maybe we could address now if you feel you're connected with him at the moment. To what extent was this image of railroads metaphorical, entirely metaphorical, and to what extent does that represent his lived experience there of actually being aboard trains? If that's a meaningful question.
Yeah, I'm asking. It's a metaphor for you so that you understand, but he says it is real. It's his reality. It's his best way. It is a reality. He says, I like trains. It's the best way I could describe how I was doing this. But he's where we see trains as a place of getting to a destination. He's experiencing that train as a way of experiencing the journey. Okay, it's not
feels about right.
Not a means to an end. It's the end. It's the means. I mean, well, that is a means to the end. I don't know how to say those things backwards all the time. He's experiencing this journey, and the journey is the exploration. It's all about exploring.
Right. It's just again the journey rather than the destination, and so trains would be a
the trains are the metaphor for you. And he says, and he's using trains. He is using trains, but it's a great metaphor so that you can understand.
Yeah. Thanks.
And he says, for those who know me, know I love trains. Yeah. So it was a perfect, and I didn't know that. So that's good. Thank you. Anyway,
Lloyd has had his hand up for a while.
Patience here.
I think it was you or somebody mentioned that he is not. He's still close to the Earth plane in many ways, and that just clicked for me in the sense that it's hard for me to imagine myself wanting to just go off and explore all these other things when I get to the other side, because I feel like my mission, why I came to Earth, is going to take many more lifetimes than just this one. And just so far, I've learned so much. And I can't imagine just, okay, I'm done. You know, I want to do these projects that I have in my mind, or at least, you know, make it possible for other people to do them. And I'm just wondering if he has any comments about that idea.
The idea, he says, he's staying close to the plane, he said, because he's not ready to let go. And he wants to talk to some of his buddies here. So until he can do that, and he mentioned to Dan, Dr. Melvin Morse, he wants to speak with. So, and a few others, and I don't know who the few others are yet, but those, Dan and Melvin Morse, he'd like to do like a little panel, the three of them talking and having an interview of some sort.
I actually wrote to Dr. Morse through his website the other day about this and have not received a reply. I was wondering, Wendy, do you have a direct connection to Melvin Morse?
Oh, she's offline right now. So we'll ask.
Gary?
Gary. And Lloyd, the fact that you would like to experience more here, that is definitely a choice. And it's just like with some of the astronauts, when they went over, some of them wanted to ride the shuttle all the way to its complete disintegration. Literally wanted to have that experience. Another one wanted to just go right on over and be with her family, family and friends. So everybody is a little different, and it's just how they feel and what they experience. When I had my near-death experience, and my death experience, I guess, because my heart stopped and I was gone, and I thought, okay, great, I'm out of here. It's done.
When did that happen, Regina? I didn't know you had an NDE.
Yeah, I did. Anyway, it happened a few years ago. So when it happened, I was thrilled. Couldn't wait. And I wasn't worried about anything back home. I was just done. And I couldn't wait. And I said, no, sorry, you're not done. You're going back. I was so disappointed, royally disappointed. But I also recognized, yeah, I wasn't done. I had to admit I wasn't done. And it wasn't done. It had nothing to do with my family or anything. It had what to do with me, what I had to change within myself to actually work in this lifetime, finish my lifetime properly. I can't just bug out. So it's it's interesting. And here you find yourself really needing to stick around and see your projects completed. So everybody's a little different. Everybody's a little bit different. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Hyacinth.
Yes. You had work to do, Regina.
I had work to do, and the work was this, actually, to
Yeah,
be perfectly
exactly.
honest.
Yes.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yes.
It was
Talking about Charlie and his wife in different places, Francis Banks describes a situation where there was a Jewish woman who was married to a non-Jewish German, and she died in a concentration camp. And she died hating her camp commandant. And so on the other side, they both were dead. She couldn't be with him because she was not at the stage to be with him. She still had things to work off. And so she was taken with Francis was there, company, to where the camp commandant was. And they saw him as a pitiable thing, covered with sores and really, really awful. And she felt pity for him because he was such a state. And that feeling of pity was enough to get her moving from where she was to a higher state. And her husband was delighted because he said, now she is moving. We will be able to get together. So I just thought it was interesting. And I remember that.
That is absolutely fabulous. Learning compassion, learning mercy, forgiveness, and what it really is about. Not just a word, but what it really is from deep within. There's a big difference. The word to the action, to the actual emotion. And that's what I think Laurel is talking about with our emotions and different things like that. She goes, what you feel in the physical body is so very different than what you feel when you no longer have that body. And she was actually truly experiencing that sense of That's the one thing she misses, the interaction, the molecular interaction of two human beings that you cannot get without the body, that molecular interaction. So you do give up something when we lose our body. We don't really give up love, but we do lose some things. And I think that's that was to me kind of a real big wake up call. And it also reminded me again how important it is. Pet our animals, love your spouse, tell your best friend or your kids, touch them, rub their feet for them, do all those wonderful things of interaction as opposed to slamming a door or pounding your fist or walking away. Turn around and go, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that. Come here. Let me hold you. Let me hold you tight. There's a big difference when we start doing that. All of a sudden, we change, they change, and it keeps growing. Sorry, I'm on my soapbox.
Don't be sorry for that one, Regina. Please, that's so important. I love you, Regina.
Oh, you
Yes.
guys, do you want to hear the other one that came through? Anybody?
You want
Raise
you
your
Yes,
hand.
talking about
Raise your hand. Yes or no? Yes or
you're
yes,
talking
no?
about Michael
yes,
talking about
yes.
Michael Collins?
Dan, you can read him because I just get all choked up.
Okay. Okay. Michael Collins was the so-called forgotten astronaut. He was the guy who circled the moon over 80 times while Armstrong and who else was it were on the moon during the first lunar landing. So here is Michael Collins, who came through on October 13th of this year. I'll read the bio here. Michael Collins, born in 1930, was an American astronaut who flew the Apollo 11 command module, Columbia, 80 times around the moon in 1969, while his crewmates, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, made the first crewed landing on the surface. He was also a test pilot and major general in the U.S. Air Force. And just to avoid confusion, both the Space Shuttle Columbia and the Apollo 11 command module were both named Columbia. Collins piloted the Apollo 11 command module, but he did not fly on the shuttle. Okay, here's his message. Dear friends who pray and seek peace, they told me to shout from my place here in this afterlife, my existence. I normally do not shout, but I'm still working to figure this out, the communication bit. I was brought to you by my buddies, the ones who flew with me in Apollo 11. They said I could speak with you and possibly fill in the missing pieces. I left my family holding the bag and realized that that wasn't fair to them. But per your calendar, it has been a few years since I let the cat out of the bag as I lay dying. Excuse me. Because of the internet, my big secret has become more about assumptions and preconceptions of what may or may not have happened back in July 69. You, Regina, were a child. I know this because my friends here and your father have shown me. Yes, I met your dad when he was commissioned to do our Apollo 11 crew portrait, the three of us, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and me. And yes, that's true. Regina's father was a very well-noted and very well rewarded artist in his time. It's funny how I am considered the forgotten astronaut of this threesome. However, that is not how I felt. Never. I flew the Apollo 11 mission the same as I was trained for all my flights, my posts and commands. I accepted each assignment with gratitude and with the knowledge that these missions or test flights were a privilege. Gemini and Apollo were gifts collected at the top of the mountain, one for each astronaut in training who climbed, summited, and was then honored to receive it. How fortunate a man was I, a mere mortal, to have the opportunity to fly to the moon. Earth's rise over the lunar surface became my awe moment. the very point at which my life's existence, the reality of my mortality became known to me. Somewhere deep within, I cannot tell you where, but so deep it awakened in a spark, like the spark off napped flint falling upon dry tinder. At the very moment when I bore witness to the planet cresting the moon's surface, tethered by gravity to the solar winds of the bright star at my back, our sun, that I realized I was more than a man, pilot, astronaut, father, and husband. I was part of an intangible grand plan. I was no longer one individual in humanity, but a life force greater than my physical body, larger than the Columbia orbiter. And then, within minutes, darkness surrounded me, when the light of our sun could not reach me, floating in the shadow of the moon. That is where the rest of this story, my secret, lies. In the darkness. That is where I saw life. Not what scientists would determine to be alive, but something beyond our physical senses. A light of ethereal wisdom. I experienced calmness, ecstasy, knowing I was being fully embraced, enveloped, protected. Something beyond the orbiter penetrated the walls, assuring my safekeeping. Awash in this knowledge, I had no fear. I knew my mission, the assignment to review all calculations in preparation for possible mishaps with the orbital rendezvous of the lunar module. I kept calculations at the ready, was prepared, and completed multiple scenarios with precision and calm. I had no fear. Though circumnavigating the moon solo and physically cut off from communication with the rest of humanity, I sensed aloneness only once, the initial tour into the moon's shadow. Strange as it might sound, I felt I was watched, guarded by another source, another type of being. I never saw it, I just felt it. I couldn't speak of this even to my family. I shared only the physical insights. I shared only the physical sights I witnessed. However, what changed me was what I could not see. There was no need to return to space. I received the greatest gift, the awakening of my soul. I wanted everyone to feel this, and giving up my seat to the next in line was one way. I spent my career in support of space exploration to go beyond and discover the infinite universe. It is not what you think. It is greater, effervescent. When I died, when my body expired, all the guys were there to catch me. I fell out of my body. The bed I was in just disappeared and I dropped into a spatial abyss, the same place I floated through when outside Gemini 10. No gravity, just floating, without a spaceflight suit, no tether to the capsule. I looked around me and all I saw was space, the depth of darkness, of black space brilliantly lit with the stars. Galaxies floated past me, or was I floating past the galaxies? Dots and swirls of lights made from the atoms of millions of gases and minerals. I wasn't wearing any oxygen, no helmet, no shield, no helmet to shield my eyes, no air-filled spacesuit to protect me from the coldness of space. I wore nothing and thought, how strange. I existed in utter peace, not a care or worry. I could see my body still, and I looked at it, getting older. How could I get much older, I wondered. I'm 90 already. But then the body, its skin, the exposed muscles and skeleton seemed to just slowly vanish into the thin air, quote, thin air surrounding me. I experienced a freedom like none other. I was completely and utterly free. That's when the guys showed up, all of them. Neil Armstrong, Roger Chaffee, Ed White, Edgar Mitchell, Gus Grissom, and so many others. John Glenn, Wally Schirra, and Alan Shepard, all the fellow flyers who had escaped Earth's gravity. I hadn't realized how many I stood near. I attended their funerals, spoke with their families and friends, and comforted the grieving. Here in space, they all came for me. I was not forgotten. I am not the forgotten astronaut. I'm getting emotional as I write this to those who wish to read it. I, Michael Collins, was a test pilot, astronaut, and champion of space exploration. I never understood why I was allowed to live so long. Why hadn't God taken me sooner to join my friends and colleagues? Finally, I understand. Before the spark of light ignited within my body, I was not alive, not truly engaged with all of myself. For the remainder of my life, I quietly studied and sought the purpose of the soul within, striving to never forget how I was enveloped by a greater sense of reality, a larger sense of being. In that moment on the dark side of the moon, I became more than a human circling the moon, commanding the orbiter. I felt my soul take its breath. I felt alive, more than alive, immortal. That physical death would come when it was time, and not any sooner. NASA gave each of us a gift when we were assigned to Apollo 11's mission. Mine was the discovery of my soul. Respectfully, Michael Collins, Major General, U.S. Air Force, Commander of Apollo 11, July 1969. Appended to his message is a note from Regina, which I'll read. Note from Regina. I was 13 years old, living at the foothills of the San Gabriel Mountains, north of Laverne, California. My dad would often have his telescope planted out on the lawn outside our 125-year-old ranch house in the warm air of our summer nights. As a young teen, I was unaware of the excitement happening in the night sky that evening. I'm sure the black and white television was turned on with the event, but I was not really paying attention to it. Dad ran in from outside, out of breath as he called each of us outside. Hurry, he said, it's happening. We followed quickly. There was no denying my dad's insistence when he spotted something exciting through his 3-foot-long telescope. He bent over the scope, fidgeting with the dials to get the focus right. A lens was comfortable for Dad. He was often spotted behind a camera, working to get the correct angle and composition. Tonight it was no different, but the excitement in his voice and his body was palatable. We kids were occupying ourselves by chasing each other in the warm night, enjoying the freshly mowed lawn beneath our feet. Okay, come here, he called, standing proudly next to his telescope. Be careful not to turn anything. One by one, we squeezed one eye shut and looked through the lens with wonder. The moon, exquisite in all its divots and imperfections, shone through, almost too bright for our youthful eyes. It's just the moon, one of the kids said. You've shown us the moon before. But tonight something historical is happening, Dad replied. Never forget this moment, the day, tonight. There is a man, two men. 2 men are standing on the moon. I have never forgotten.
Thank you, Dan, for reading that for us.
That's a hard one to follow.
Thank you. Well, thank you, everyone, for listening in, reading books to you. When I first Thanks, Dan.
hooked up with Regina and Jean and this particular cohort, I hadn't quite made the connection between the physical exploration of space and the greater reality. And when we first put together our website, cosmicvoices.network, I still had these doubts. Well, if we call it cosmic, will people think it's too much about the physical cosmos? But the more I read and absorb these communications, the more I realize that to us in the physical world, the cosmos is a most important gateway, aesthetically, spiritually, conceptually, to the greater reality. And even though our Western science may not think of the cosmos in metaphysical terms, it is, in fact, a link to infinity and eternity. Even whatever scientific exploration has come along in the last several centuries, I think we all know instinctively cannot begin to encompass even the spatial reality, let alone higher levels of being. So that, space can be our touchstone in a way, our doorway, our link, a symbol, and also a living reality for those who have begun to explore it, and also, obviously, for those who have been visiting here from other realms, other physical realms, other metaphysical realms, which our civilization is just beginning, I think, to ground into its awareness. I was reading something recently about the sort of halting, slow revelation of other life, the UFO, UAP realm, whatever you want to call it, is actually proceeding quite as it should. But those of us who are frustrated with the slowness and awkwardness of it can be reassured that these revelations are occurring at the right pace and at the right time, and that's what makes the most sense to me right now. That patience and steady integrating of each level of revelation is the way to ground these things in a way that will trigger a minimum of silly reaction.
Mm-hmm.
We know that conventional religion both stands in the way and also in some ways always points to a greater reality, however simplistically and literalistically. And so that at whatever pace our understanding grows, that it would benefit us to be patient about it. And to be with it ourselves as much as possible, and have it demonstrate its reality to us individually, to the point where it can be openly acknowledged collectively. And we're certainly at a historical inflection point right now, in terms of what's happening on our planet. So much of our ideological and religious and political and so on past is bubbling up to the surface to be reevaluated. And that, in spite of all of the heat that's being generated above the surface, up in our visible world, that there's a quiet familiarization and maybe re-education and re-remembering going on beneath the surface. Mm-hmm. And those of us who gather in this way are perhaps a part of that. And that just by being who we are and keeping on, we're creating an even keel on this growing experience. And I apologize for my awkward language, but it's all I can come up with at this point. Recovering both from a cold and also from yesterday I attended a memorial for a former partner of mine, and that was also a deep experience. So forgive my awkwardness today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan, for sharing. And that was beautiful. Thank you. Lloyd.
Yeah, I just want to second something that Dan said. But first, I want to say I feel a little bit more relaxed knowing that you all who are coming up with these just moving narrations feel awkward about it. So I feel awkward too about saying too much or whatever. So
Mm.
I feel a little bit more grounded just hearing that I'm not the only one who wants to apologize for saying things. What I wanted to say was that last week I got together with some friends from high school in a kind of it was a reunion of sorts, and there was a good smattering of materialists there, and the religious stuff that's coming to the surface right now, I think, is propelling many materialists to rethink. Because I was just expecting to have small talk and all that kind of stuff, and we just got deep into life after death and everything, and it was just the most rewarding thing. And they were listening, and one person that I thought was a complete materialist talked about how when she was in her late teens, she attended a seance in our home that my dad did. And my dad knew all these things, or what came out of his mouth was all these things that he had no way of knowing. And I had no idea that she had experienced that. But it was just very gratifying to see that attention is being placed on this and people are thinking and opening up. And yeah.
Well, thank you, Lloyd. We've got a few people leaving right now, so I'm just waving away as they say goodbye and stuff. And I want to thank everybody who has come today before, and we're still on for a little bit longer. But Lloyd, I get embarrassed whenever anybody has to sit through anything I say or do. That's part of my own upbringing, but I'm trying to get over it. And the messages that have come through have been so powerful for me. I have a hard time reading them afterwards. I'm really grateful that Dan is willing to read these out loud. Anytime I read them, I immediately am back to where I was when they were writing through me. And the connection of energy that they are flowing in me it just is so remarkable. It just is remarkable. Might as well be giving me drugs or something that's really spacing me out. And so it's just hard to be here. It's hard to be present. And the whole thing is a phenomenal experience. I've always thought that ever since I was little, connecting in these spiritual ways, and it's not been in church or anything. It's always been with spirit directly. Was such a high, and it was a passion, just a passion, one that I didn't really wasn't able to present. So now to be able to present it, I'm just so full of gratitude. Even if it's a quiet presentation in this format, I'm so very, very grateful and glad that we're able to bring these messages forward on the Cosmic Voices Network.
Well, I'm grateful for the messages. And I can imagine that we all feel a certain amount of awkwardness after having had experiences of not really being able to explain these things to people.
Well, and yeah, we just really, the language of it, even though it's been around forever, I mean, all of you have studied so much about it and things, it's just that humanness about human doubt in ourselves and the fears and things.
Yeah.
And my life lesson has been really to shove those things away, put them aside. So I also want to make sure that everybody checks out the Inner Voice, Nancy's and Steve's, but Nancy mostly because Steve said it was all you. So Inner Voice just came out yesterday, November 1st. She's got a lot of good pieces in there, and Dan has written an amazing piece on AI and spirit. So Check it out. The Inner Voice. I think it's in our chat too, if you don't have the link.
I also want to add that Regina wrote an article as well. A focus this month is on afterlife communication with our pets who've crossed over, including Regina's dog Roscoe and that story. My story of my cat crossing over and what happened after. And just really good tips, I think, that all of you would enjoy being in this genre, if you will. A lot of tips for living our best life right now, as well as after we cross over. I'll put the link in the chat. And I also want to ask that if you enjoy the magazine, if you don't mind sharing it with your friends and followers, people who you think would enjoy it, I think the word really needs to reach bigger numbers. I work very hard at putting together a very uplifting, inspirational magazine each month. And I really appreciate when people share it. So thank you. And thanks, Dan, for an incredible article. I laughed my butt off at the end of it.
Well, that was a condensed version of a much longer piece, actually. I wish I'd had more space to do it, but
Well,
it was.
That can be arranged.
Oh, okay.
He's a great writer, Nancy. He's a great writer.
I see that. And
I do the best I can.
yeah, well, you did real well, and I open it up to you to continue, if you will, if you'd like.
Sure. Well, yeah, we can do maybe a regular little essay or something like that.
He'd like Nancy. He'd like it. He'd like it very much. I'll just speak for him.
Okay. I would like it very much, and I think the readers would too.
Yes.
Right, readers?
Well, having more than enough on my plate at this point in time, I'll say, yeah, sure, let's do it.
That's
Well,
right.
you know what? If you want something done, you give it to a busy person.
That's right.
It's
They
the truth.
say. Very true. And most of them are female too, though. Sorry, Dan, but most of them are female. Look at how much Wendy does.
Oh, wow.
So thanks for listening to my
Awesome.
little spiel, and read and share the magazine. It's free. Free.
It's wonderful.
Great. So,
Okay.
anybody else? How are we doing? We doing good? Wendy, do you need anything? You got any questions, Wendy?
No, I'm just sitting here, just blown away by the beauty, as I think many people are, the beauty and the resonance of the messages this morning. They've been absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you. They were all good, weren't they?
Really, really lovely.
I keep thinking, I get one of the questions I always get is, well, which guy do you channel? Because so many of them just usually just channel one. And who's your favorite? And they're all my favorite. They're all my favorite. And if I had one special one, I have 15 special ones. There's so many, and it just depends on the direction and stuff I need if I need help. But I did not have any idea that Laurel had wanted to talk to me till yesterday, I guess it was, when I could just feel her. I didn't know what was going on. I could just feel her. And it was a huge feeling. Wasn't like an individuated thing for some of these. And the thing with with Collins, when he was wanting to come in, for almost a week, I would hear in the most unusual places, the Michael. And I'm looking around, Michael, who's Michael? And then I had 3 relatives named Michael, and I thought, well, is something wrong with them? And I thought, no, I checked them all, did muscle testing. No, they're all fine. And then I'd hear Michael, and I'd be looking at something else. And so after about a week, I said, all right, if there is a Michael here that's wanting to talk, you better tell me who this is, because I'm tired of this 20 guesses and 20 questions. And so I said, I'm going to type your name into Google. and you complete it. Complete the name. So I put in Michael, and then Collins came right up instantly like that. I mean, I've never put his name in. That was funny. And I said, is this you? And he goes, yes. So that was it. That's amazing. So for that, I like Google or DuckDuckGo or whatever the browser was at the time, but it just cracked me up.